You are listening to a fascinating love story called AAKASH-GANGA, in which a girl named Ganga from Earth meets and falls in love with Akash, a resident of planet Shangri-La, after she is paranormally teleported to another planet of the galaxy. But this path of love was not easy to trod, as Ganga's Earth and Akash's Shangri-La had hardly anything in common, except for love. We learned in the last episode of this audio series how Ganga unexpectedly and supernaturally entered Akash's universe via a portal or a gateway previously unknown to the humankind. Let us now find out how she meets Akash after arriving in Shangri-La and where their love blossoms. Let us discover the manner in which this event occurs and why. I am RJ Akansha and this story is being narrated by me, and the show has been written and created by Manoj. Now allow me to begin the second episode of this peculiar love tale AAKASH-GANGA on your very own audio OTT platform, the Ace FM. The name of the second episode of the audio series is Animal Man, and we hope you will enjoy it more than the first one. The roar of wolves startled Ganga, and she opened her eyes to find herself in a thick forest. It was pitch dark in the jungle, and she could not tell what time of day it was. Before she could process any of it, she heard another wolf howling from a few meters away from her. Terrified, she jumped to her feet and was aghast by what she saw. A pack of 40 to 50 wolves were standing a little away from her and staring directly at her. They were about to pounce and attack her, and she was about to become their next meal. The 18-year-old Ganga's legs began to shake with terror as she abruptly pulled her phone out of her backpack and attempted to use it as a weapon to intimidate the pack of wolves. She held the mobile phone like a pistol and pointed it at them. After that, Ganga threatened the pack of wolves. This is a revolver, and if any one of you tries to take a step forward, I will shoot him down. When the wolves heard her remarks, they halted their march and turned to face one another. From their looks alone, it was obvious that they were having a conversation, although silently via their eyes. All of this was a completely new and terrifying experience for her. But she soon realizes that even the wolves were just as confused about her existence as she was of theirs. She wondered how a pack of wolves were on the top of the Himalayas. Then she wondered, did the wolves appear in the Himalayas, or did I reach this strange place, completely unknown to me? Shakal, the leader of the wolf pack, snarled and used his hind legs to dig the ground in preparation for an assault. He took one last glance around to check whether there was anything dangerous lurking close. But in spite of all his caution, he did not notice a movement in the tree's shrubs behind the girl. So he prowled at Ganga and attacked her. Ganga yelled out of fear, as though this was the last time she would ever be able to scream. She cried out, "No!" closed her eyes and sat down on the ground with her head buried between her knees. She was expecting this to be her last moment. But even after a few unbelievably long seconds had passed, she did not feel the pain of a wolf's bite. Instead, she heard a loud roar of a leopard trying to shoo the wolves away. Ganga opened her eyes and found that a leopard had appeared from the bushes behind, and before the wolves could attack her, it had jumped in front of her and surprised them. Suddenly, the leopard turned and grabbed the collar of Ganga's jacket with his jaws, took a huge leap and landed on a branch of a nearby tree. The leopard dropped Ganga on the branch of the tree and then turned back towards the pack of wolves, down the tree, and then without hesitation jumped down and landed right in the middle of the pack. Ganga stopped screaming, but her shocked eyes stayed open. She managed to climb to the tree branch in astonishment and kept her eyes wide open to observe the leopard attacking the pack of wolves. Ganga's mind began to spin as she wondered what was going on. Why was she saved by a leopard? Was this happening for real, or it was just an illusion? However, the heat emanating from the leopard's lips and the traces of saliva it left on the collar of her jacket provided tangible proof of this incident's reality. Ganga suddenly recalled that leopards climb trees with their prey in their mouths after hunting to prevent other wild animals from stealing their food. This realization quickly dawned on her that her life was still in danger. She must find a way to escape these horrible creatures, as the leopard was not there to protect her. Instead, it was just another predator. The leopard, surrounded by wolves below, let out a loud roar and caught hold of the wolf standing closest to it, and in a moment killed it by sinking his teeth into its neck. After that, he looked towards the pack of wolves as if he was threatening them that if any one of them stepped towards his prey, they too would meet the same fate. His one eye was fixed at the wolf pack, while his other eye took a glance at his victim, Ganga. His look was so menacing that Ganga started shaking in fear and was about to fall off the branch of the tree. But she somehow managed to cling onto the tree, and that prevented her from sliding from the branch. The wolf pack looked at their leader Shakal to seek further instructions, only to find it staring boldly at the leopard and Ganga, his victim. Then he moved his foot in Ganga's direction and gave the order to his pack of wolves to attack the leopard. On receiving the orders from their leader, the other wolves of the pack attacked the leopard, but the leopard was incredibly strong and swift, killing the second and third wolves in one swipe, killing them both in the same manner as he had slain the first. After that, he once again roared and warned the wolves to back off and then look towards Ganga again, as if telling them, "This is my prey, so all of you get away from here." However, the wolves stayed there as well, since they were confident of the superiority of their numbers. Subsequently, a battle so terrible and intense started that Ganga felt her heart race, as she was aware that her fate would remain the same, irrespective of whichever side prevailed. Her time was running out and she had to escape before this fracas ended. Following the ferocious onslaught by the leopard, the corpses of scores of wolves were lying scattered on the ground, drenching in blood and torn to shreds. Subsequently, Shakal modified the strategy of their attack by instructing 6 wolves to plunge on the leopard simultaneously. 2 from the front, 2 from behind, 1 from the right and 1 from the left. The leopard was stunned by this sudden attack from all sides and staggered to the ground due to the weight of the 6 wolves. The war took a fierce turn, and for a moment it seemed that the leopard would not be able to break free from this new strategic attack of Shakal. But the leopard was a very skilled hunter and was not going to be overpowered so easily. A far more fierce battle ensued, where all the hunters were hell-bent on killing each other. Ganga was just waiting for this chance. "It's now or never, Ganga! Run for your life, away from these beasts!" With that thought in mind, she climbed on the tree and started to flee that site of conflict right away. However, Shakal's savage gaze remained riveted on her. He motioned for one of his pack's wolves to pursue the sprinting Ganga. Ganga was swiftly followed by the wolf. Shakal's happiness had no bounds, and now was the right moment for him to kill the leopard and end this battle once and for all. However, as soon as he turned towards the leopard, he soon saw that many of his fellow hunters were soaring in the air and were about to land on him. Before he could do anything, he found himself buried beneath the weight of 2 wolves of his own pack. The blood-stained leopard had managed to break free from those 6 wolves. Then, like an arrow from a bow, he bolted in direction where he saw Ganga running with a wolf chasing her. In one leap forward, he landed on the wolf and broke its neck, and in the next jump he was at the back of Ganga and brought her down in the ground. Ganga did not see the leopard when she fell to the ground, and when she turned and looked back instead, she did not see a leopard, but she saw Yamraj, the god of death in Hindu mythology. Ganga closed her eyes in fear of death as the roaring leopard extended its mouth towards her. All she could sense was that someone had taken hold of her jacket's collar and hurled her skyward once again. She stayed in the air for a few seconds before tumbling onto something. She discovered the leopard was still on top of her. When she opened her eyes, she met his gaze. It appeared as though flames were emerging from his eyes. Ganga shut her eyes again immediately. The leopard had brought her back on the same secure branch of the tree again from where she had eloped, knowing the wolves couldn't climb up there. Peering down, he noticed that the enemy army led by Shakal was once more taking an aggressive posture. He understood that unless he finished this war, he would not be able to enjoy his meat. The time had come for him to checkmate his enemies as soon as possible. And for this, it was very necessary for the leader of this group to die. He looked into Shakal's eyes and lunged at him and reached there in a blink of an eye. This time, he had no intention of warning the wolf back. They had asked for death, so he had to give them death. The wolf also attacked him with their full might. And this game of death continued for about half an hour and only ended with the death of the leader of the wolf pack, Shakal. The leopard tore his chest apart with his sharp nails. The remaining 7-8 wolves, seeing their leader dying, ran away hiding their tails between their hind legs. With a loud roar, then the leopard announced his victory in the war. Ganga tried to hide in other tree branches during this period out of fear. She knew that she was now going to be the winner's dinner. She had no idea how she would be able to get away from this vicious beast of an animal. Nevertheless, she scaled the tree and attempted to conceal herself behind some foliage. She noticed that the leopard turned and looked up at her before she could do anything else worthwhile. His face was stained with blood and his cold and sharp eyes looked straight into Ganga's gaze. Ganga's blood seemed to freeze and she began to tremble with fear. That bloody beast started moving towards her in a terrifying manner. On his way back to reach Ganga, he crushed the ribs of the lifeless carcasses of the wolves beneath his feet and was back on the branch of the tree in no time. Ganga's pulse was beating more quickly than the train's engine as he began to peek at her from behind the foliage. With one paw, the leopard removed the leaves and placed his other paw on Ganga's breast and gave a gentle roar. From a distance, he heard the cry of wolves, hearing which he turned and roared loudly in response in human voice. Today I, Akash the leopard, am letting you return home alive. But next time, if any of you do not pay heed to my warning, you will all be killed. Not a single one will reach his tribe alive. Go and disappear with the dead body of your arrogant chief Shakal. I don't want his innocent widow to be denied the chance to perform his last rites. Then he turned and told Ganga in a human voice, don't make the mistake of running away from me again. Ganga could not believe her ears. Whether she actually heard human voices from the animal's mouth, or whether her mind was deceiving her. Which unknown jungle of the earth has she reached, where animals speak the language of humans? We know that you too must be surprised to know about such a unique thing. But we had already told you that if you want to enjoy this story, then you will have to run the horses of your imagination far and wide. Because this is a love story which is far from anything else you have ever read or heard about. We really hope you enjoyed the second installment of our audio series, AAKASH-GANGA, which introduced you to Shangri-La's animal-human inhabitants. We will return soon to narrate the next episode of this imaginative story. By we, I mean RJ Akansha and the writer and creator of this audio series, Manoj. Right here on your favorite audio OTT platform, the Ace FM.